David Eickholt and Eliot Clough here for HawkeyeInsider.com. First off the bat, I apologize if I sound a little bit nasally or sick. It's definitely starting to hit me a little bit, and I know plenty of other people it's hitting. So did not make the trip to LA. And honestly, after seeing the weather, Eliot, I am happy I did not go to LA. But plenty here to talk about. Obviously, we're probably going to get into the what ifs of the season. I know people probably want the rage mob about the officials. I have my 2 cents about that. But let's focus on the product on the field and the controllables for Iowa before we dive into that. I mean, do you want to call the second half disaster? I mean, 0 points.
Yes.
They really weren't. Yeah, I'm with you on that. First half was stellar. I mean, if you gave me a realistic first, like dream start for Iowa, realistic, you're taking that 21-10 every single time. So I got to give Tim Lester credit here. Mark had a unique hat trick, and I'll give the floor to you, Eliot, but I'll conclude it by saying this. That call that Iowa scored on, I believe I called it one of my favorite Tim Lester play calls. It was on that 4th and 1. It was the DJ Vonley. It was that 4th and 1. They faked, pushed it, threw it. I mean, that was the hell of a call by Lester. But I'll let you dive in the first half offense. Again, the most realistic dream start for Iowa. That's exactly what happened, I feel like.
Yes, first half was perfect. I mean, you know how I write 4 downs. As I usually get the first 2 downs done in the first half, wait to see how the second half goes and operate as such. And reading the first 2 downs of 4 downs, one would think that Iowa won that football game. That was the best start, second probably to Minnesota, that Iowa's had all season.
Minnesota's undoubtedly one. I need to go back. I mean, Wisconsin was just flawless as well, though, too.
They went 3 and out on the first drive and threw that pick at the end of the first half.
But I mean, they turned it on late. But again, this is the best start versus the quality of opponent that Iowa was playing. How about that?
100%. Iowa looked like a college football playoff team in the first half. The first drive was nearly perfect. Obviously, the ball at Weegen's feet. You know, for a while we were talking about Gronowski having overthrows and late throws, and today it was late throws and underthrows. A lot of underthrows today, in particular to guys who were open. One causing an interception that hit Gill in the knee. But first half, that first drive was near perfect. DJ Vonley starting to look like the next great Iowa tight end, or at least he has the potential to be that. Second drive, man, I don't even remember how the second drive. It was just run. I think Vonley had that 32-yard catch. That might have been on the third drive too. But anyway,
the second drive was the 3 yards. No, that's when Iowa threw that first down play that you did not like. They threw that deep ball to Weechen double coverage because they were going for the kill shot immediately because they took over in USC's territory after the shank punt.
And then the third drive they scored. Third and fourth drive of the first half they scored, but finished that one with a tush push. You mentioned the Philly special that Iowa ran, the Philly, which for Mark Gronowski to have a hat trick, a passing touchdown to Dayton Howard, a tush push touchdown, and to catch a touchdown all in one half, and Iowa loses that football game. What? I mean, like to wrap up the talk of the first half, I mean, that was probably the best half of play calling that Tim Lester has had as well. I mean, of course, they had their miscues. Of course, there were a couple plays that didn't go their way. Jazz Patterson looked good in his time on the field. Kamari was good again. Jacob Gill had that. And on that first drive, a 44-yard play where Gronowski rolled out, and that was probably the best throw or one of the best throws of his season at Iowa, where he rolled out through that dot to Gill. Again, DJ Vonley was awesome. There was that broken coverage where he had the 32-yard gain. I think he had 2 separate catches that were 10-plus yards otherwise. But, I mean,
I'm already calling dibs on him being my breakout player next season for Iowa. Like, the little confidence I had in Iowa's tight end room entering the year, Eliot, I've flipped my tune completely on them going into next year. Like now when you see how the younger guys develop, but there's a ton of untapped talent in that room. Thomas Meyer got some run, but we've heard so much talk about Vanami behind the scenes. I think he's going to be a dude. And honestly, on that 32-yarder where he took the broken coverage, Eliot, he has more burst to him than I thought. I didn't think he was that fast. He's never shown the electric burst. So I think that's a little bit of optimism going in.
He's an athlete
as well. Yeah,
he's an athlete. He'll catch more than one touchdown pass next year, assuming the passing game can take another step forward. But I mean, and like the defense was good in the first half, forced a 3-and-out, a couple 3-and-outs, I think. Run game really never.
You're only going to contain USC for so long. And I think we all kind of knew that. I thought, now again, this is hindsight here. I thought if Iowa got to 28, they'd win. If they scored one more touch, even before, like when it was 21-10, right? I thought if they got to 28, they'd win. But they just didn't have a threat.
Nope. To revert to talking about the defense a little bit, run game really never got going for USC. They had a couple runs in there of like 7-8 yards, but nothing like I mean, prior to this season, that's probably what I would have expected from a run game from USC. Passing game, like Makai Lemon. Sure. If Makai Lemon is not a first-round draft pick, then I either don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or this draft class is going to be freaking loaded. Because who else have you seen make consistent catches like that in one game? Game-changing.
Iowa had pretty great coverage most of the time. Like Lemon just went up and got it. Then you need to give Jane Maiava credit, man. Like some of the throws he was letting go were, I mean, NFL throws. I mean, you're talking like see you in New York for the Heisman ceremony throws. Like that's how good some of those throws were. But Jacoby Lane was terrific. I mean, Iowa knew and had a lot of respect, I think, for Lincoln Riley's passing game and what Maiava brings to the table. Like this shouldn't surprise anyone that you're only going to keep him down for so long, right? I mean, that was the name of the game. And regardless of how people want to say, look, by the way, this is the only thing I'll say about the officials. Probably not, but for now, Aaron Graves got held about every other freaking play. Like the holds inside were insane to me. But regardless of that, when Maiava escaped the pocket, he was still taking some shots, man. Like he showed me a lot of grit and a lot of toughness. And again, it wasn't even bad defense by Iowa on some of these plays. Like at some point, you just got to tip your cap to them.
Right.
They're NFL plays. They're NFL plays.
They were, I know what my receiver is capable of. Give him a shot at the ball type throws. And those are throws that you can make in the NFL when you have talent like Makai Lemon. And also
down there somewhere.
Yeah. And to have Jacoby Lane on top of that, like it was just almost unfair. And I mean, like you said, Iowa knew that, and for them to do that against TJ Hall and company is pretty impressive. Made some throws over Zach Lutmer that were tough that he doesn't usually, give up. To boot, I saw some of the conversation, at least in my replies, I'm sure they were on yours on Twitter too, about people saying that this defense just isn't good. And I'm just like, that's and to blame Mark Gronowski, to blame the defense, it's just not true, right? Like this defense is still good. Iowa didn't score a single point in the second half for a variety of reasons, not only on Mark Gronowski. One, the defense allowed 26 points to an elite offense. We're not talking about allowing 26 points to UMass. We're not talking about allowing 26 points to this Wisconsin team. They allowed 26 points to USC, who got some help from the officials. Like, it's emotion. I get it, fans, right? It's different. But this defense is still legit. This defense, and blaming defense after the Oregon loss when you allowed 16 points to an Oregon team that had a quarterback that made that throw like Dante Moore, like this defense is still not at fault.
Iowa's stats, not that they were ever skewed, Okay, so don't get it twisted. We know Phil Parker is, in my opinion, the best defensive coordinator in college football. They're playing elite offenses. This is what happens across every other team that's not named Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but worse.
If you told me before the season that Iowa was going to hold Oregon and USC to what? I mean, Iowa lost what, 18-16?
Yep.
If you told me that they gave up 44 points total to Oregon and USC, you'd sign up for that every single second of every season. You always sign up for that. Like, and it's a credit to Iowa too. Like, they played these teams well. The criticism gets skewed and the emotions get high because they have not shown up when they've needed to this season.
There you go.
Past Iowa defenses have. And that's the disconnect. Mm-hmm. Because they don't show up on the drives that they're needed, the opinion that they're not as, they're not elite. I don't think they're particularly elite. They are elite statistically. Mm-hmm. This is not like you have an All-American Mike linebacker. You have an All-American corner. They're missing one or two elite players. Like, I'm talking honorable mention All-American.
You don't have
Zach Lutmer is going to be a first-team All-Big Ten next season. Like, they're going to have guys next year that take that step, and you're going to wish that Iowa had him a year before that. But my point is, think about the Iowa State game, for example. Right, Eliot? They gave up the field goal. And Conradi, for some reason, never misses field goals against Iowa. Do it against everybody else, he won't miss 56 yards. The Oregon game came down to it. The Indiana game is an outlier to me because Mark Gronowski got hurt. I give them a break on that. I mean, they sent the safety blitz on a third and must convert situation. That play had worked all day. We got, I know people disagree with that. I understand exactly why Phil Parker ran that play. I said that at the exact same time too. Tonight, Iowa was one stop short, but at the same time, Iowa put up 0 points in the second half. You can't put up 0 points in a half against an offense like in Oregon, like a USC, and come out victorious. Iowa is right there. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the story of this season. And honestly, I know we have 2 games in the bowl game still to cover, Eliot. I can't wait for our postseason pod when we take a look back at all this, because I'm just very curious how my thoughts develop here over the next 6 weeks. Because this is a season to where I would still argue as a total team, this is still one of the better ones that Iowa's had in 10 years. Seriously, regardless of the record. Go ahead. I just ranted for like 4 minutes, but go ahead.
That's okay. When speaking of the defense and stepping up when they're needed, I think that, like, on a case-by-case basis, I would agree with you on the Oregon game. I'll push back on Iowa State because Iowa State got a lucky bounce. Against Indiana,
I agree.
They made really amazing 4th down stops against an elite football team several times when they were needed. That you talked about the play call, right? That Phil Parker called. I disagree. I thought it was a wrong or an incorrect call at the time. You made your point. I agreed with you. I still think that is at the feet of Mark Gronowski getting hurt, like you said. Oregon, I will agree with you. USC still on it's on the offense, like you said. And I'll tell you why it's not on Mark Gronowski. Because Mark Gronowski didn't call a run play on 3rd and 9 in 2-down territory. What I will say, and Mark Gronowski, I think my point that his throws were short and late is still true.
I agree.
Second half, the play calling fell off a cliff. To put it all on Mark Gronowski is not correct. I think it's emotional. And again, fans operate on emotion. That's what you do. I get it. I 100%.
It's also what you sign up for when you play quarterback. And every elite quarterback and every quarterback knows it. Like, Martin knows that he's going to get the brunt of the criticism.
the tough part I imagine for him is not so much the criticism, but the fact that they've lost 4 games. And he said he'd never lost 3 games in a regular season ever in his football career. So this last week, so that's gotta be tough for him. Let's talk more about the other thing I wanted to talk about is the way Kirk operates, like particularly on that 4th and 3, when Iowa chose to punt instead of go for it at midfield. If they're going to do that, they need one. I do get it because USC is so good offensively, and they proved it as the second half progressed. And 2, you don't have Torrey Taylor anymore. Like you're not going to see Reese Dakin have the opportunity to be Torrey Taylor unless you give him those opportunities. But to punt from the 50 and have it fair caught at the 18, you can't. Those
Just
things
to clarify,
don't marry.
That was the opening drive of the second half, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Those things don't marry each other. I mean, to be conservative and then not have good punting. It doesn't work because what happened? They got that ball and moved it all the way down the field. I mean, if they moved it all the way down the field from the 8, fine, more power to you. That's a great offense. Tip the cap, like you said. But to punt it to the 18, go for it. Then.
You have to pin him inside the 10. No question. You have to pin him inside the 10. The last thing, really quick, but then I'll respond. Going back to the last quick point about the last thing. I'm talking about the defense, not like in a half or a quarter. I'm talking about the specific drives because how many times have we seen those elite Iowa defenses show up on the drive, like the ultimate drive that matters and get the stop? Iowa just has not gotten the stop, and that's where that's where I have an issue. Like that, I'm saying that's not my opinion of the defense. That's what everybody else is seeing, and they're reacting because they can't get the stop.
But have they been in a situation where they've had to do it against this Indiana type team, Oregon, and USC all in one season? And the way Iowa State was playing.
I don't. That's exactly goes back to what I said though. They're playing more talented teams, and they're still putting up elite statistics. But you're right. So I think that's the middle ground of what we're going with here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. I mean, you can't. And again, I think Iowa's offense has shown to be more aggressive. And I'm going to keep pushing back at everybody that says this is the same Iowa offense that was bottom and everything. You're looking for an out is 100%. It's not 100% different. It's very different though. Okay. I thought they should have continued to run the ball with Moulton. I thought Moulton was killing USC, quite frankly. I know he didn't get the big breakoff run, but that dude broke off so many tackles, made so many big things happen. And by the way, I'm not going to sit here and dog on announcers, but God, I would have heard less homerism if I listened to the USC official call on the radio station. That was utter insanity to me. And by the way, Caden Weechin is 3 steps out of bounds when they didn't call that late hit. Like there were 2 obvious face masks they missed, but how do you not? You talk about protecting players, protect the damn player.
Mm-hmm.
Caden Weechin, and the announcer's like, no, he didn't. He put his helmet down. I mean, it was ridiculous from that standpoint. The other part I'll push back on is this. They failed, and the reason why I bring up the announcers, they forgot to mention, I don't think people realize, Iowa was without 3 starting offensive linemen for the 4th quarter. I know people don't want to hear about injuries as an excuse. I agree with that. But you have to take it into consideration. Like, Iowa's without both guards. By the way, Kate Pieper, that people are already talking about as a borderline first-round pick, right? Mm-hmm. Some mock drafts are. So, like, you're losing a potential first, second-round pick. Jennings Dunker, probably round 2 at best. Likely round 3. I think he'll do great at the combine, so I think he's going to rise up.
I've seen him mocked in the top 10 by PFF.
I mean, I think he should be a first-round pick. So take that into consideration. That's your entire right side of your offensive line. That are both first-round picks gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like there are levels to this, and Mike Gronowski might be cursed because I have never seen so many deflected passes result in interceptions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting dogged on Twitter about this, but because people are reading the way they want it. But I think you agree with me. In order to have a great or special season, execution, a little luck, and some bounces. Iowa has not executed all the time. There's no doubt about that. But they have executed well enough to be 8-2 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They have gotten some insane bounces go against them that it's just like, I hate to use this Kirkism, Eliot. That's football.
I knew that was
You knew
coming.
exactly. I mean, again, everybody on Iowa has to be accountable. Reese was not good today. And there's a reason why I put my star of the game. I said first half Mark Gronowski.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mark Gronowski until I'm like, yeah, he hasn't played well enough. They have to execute that better, everything better in the second half. But officials aside, because I know people want to rag on them, I will leave them to it. I thought they were horrible, quite frankly, today. But ultimately, Iowa did not execute. And that's why. It's 0 second half points against an elite offense, Eliot. You're not winning a football game. I'm sorry, you're not winning, especially on the road.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to one thing that you said while we're talking about the offense in the second half, is you said you thought Kamari Moulton was really good, and he was. And one thing that you and I think a lot of people have been, I don't know if clamoring for is right, but wanting to see more is Jazz Patterson getting handoffs. I don't, it's his first year coaching the running backs. And I don't mean to go after him. That's not my intent here, but I think Omar Young's rotations at running back have been a little bit questionable. I think he eventually taking out TJ Washington more or less from the rotation was smart. But the timing of the rotations have been kind of odd. I think, and I don't know if maybe Kamari got hurt, so this is maybe a completely moot point. But on that last drive that I mentioned, the 3rd and 9, the first 2 plays of that drive were Jazz Patterson runs. 0 yards, 1 yard. What happens after that? Another carry to Xavier Williams for 3 yards, who I don't even know if Xavier had more than 2 or 3 carries before that.
Elliot, that was his only carry of the game.
Oh, jeez.
So you're talking about, at least according to the official stats, maybe they messed up a name because I thought he ran one earlier. But you're going to run, and again, I like Xavier Williams a lot, and I think you've been driving the bandwagon for Xavier. So, like, this is not to dog on him. You are setting a young running back up for failure when he is not in the flow of the game. He has not touched the football, and you're facing a must-convert scenario.
On 3rd and 9.
On that.
3rd and 9?
You know what the other part of that is? I'm going to double-check it. I'm going to double-check it before I say it because I'm not trying to rage bait. Okay. According to the stat sheet, remember I just talked about how the right side of Iowa's line was hurt?
Mm-hmm.
He ran to the right.
He ran to the right side, yep.
So you're down 2 first-round picks potentially. And again, the other guys that came in for them are experienced guys. They played football, and they do well. Like, when they start next year, I think they're going to be more than serviceable. I think they're going to be very good. But it also goes back to the point about Hank Brown against Indiana. Now, I kind of held him more accountable because some of the misses he missed were horrible. But, like, you're not setting anybody up for success in that situation. You have a guy that hadn't carried the football all game, and then you're running to the right side. Your entire starting right side, 2 first-round picks are hurt, and you're running to the right in a must-convert scenario.
Were the runs by Jazz to the right? I think they were both to the right as well.
They went strict right side on those 3 runs.
So you take 2 guys off the bench who, I mean, Jazz had a few carries that were good. And maybe you go to Jazz there because you know he's going to fall forward. He's going to push forward for that extra yard or 2, but he got 1 and 0 yards. 3 straight runs in that situation was really confusing. Run a read option, and maybe they did. I need to go back and watch, and of course I'll have that for Monday Morning Quarterback. But I think that was right after Mark Gronowski's 19-yard run too. I mean, with the amount of time left, I understand. I understand running the ball. I don't know that I love the calls to the right side like we talked about. Going to the left, you'd have Lauk, you'd have Leighton Jones. who are both part of the class of 2023. Jones played a good chunk of today's game in lieu of Bo Stevens being out, which of course
Leighton
we'll learn.
Jones is going to be a good player.
He is, yeah. Leighton would have been we've heard this a bunch, is Leighton would have been a starter this year if Stevens didn't come back. And it's more than just this one drive. Of course, we're hampering on this because it was so important. It was late in the game. Caden had a great carry earlier in that drive as well for like 22 or 23 yards. I thought the
Mark was leading Walker on that.
Yeah. I thought the execution of the timing was actually pretty good on that drive. But I mean, there's a lot to pick at in the second half offensively. I think one thing that we've alluded to but haven't said specifically is right before that Gronowski pick, couldn't have been more clear that was a face mask on Kamari Moulton. The guy's arm went like this, and then he grabbed the face mask. I think a few drives later, there was a face mask on Kamari Moulton as well.
I thought Iowa should have advocated more for it because it looked like they just accepted it.
Yeah, and to a degree, I don't know that Kamari even said anything, but I know that Kirk really prefers to operate that way of just like, that's what the call was. We move forward. And I get that. I really do.
Kirk was pissed about the Ouija one, by the way.
That they picked up. He goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know if you saw that.
They cut away because Kirk was about to drop a few F-bombs.
I don't
mean fudge.
Right. And I'm with you. I'm not one to blame the officials. Ultimately, you put this on Iowa, but there were a lot of either missed calls or no calls in this game. The holding, 2 face masks, out of bounds. It sure looked like, there was a brief moment on that clip, and I know people are putting out screenshots where it looked like Caden made that catch. I
don't think he had it.
I didn't think so either. I thought his toe went into the paint, but there was just a lot. There are a lot of things that you can go back and this is how it's been for all 4 losses. Is that this. I mean, like, it's not just one thing at the end of these games that's costing Iowa these games. There's execution. There's poor play calling that I've put on Lester from the get-go. This offense is in a much better spot, but you can't shoot yourself in the foot. And sure, hindsight's 2020. Say that of me, by all means. I'm gonna go back and watch Monday Morning Quarterback and post that on Monday, of course, for our VIPs. But this one will be an interesting rewatch. What I saw against Oregon was, we have these post game pods where we talk about everything, and it's easy to point out like 4 or 5 plays where you go like this. Going back and doing the Monday Morning Quarterback, it's like that times 5 or 4 or 5 where you see these little things. Oh, a missed block here. Oh, a route run wrong here. Oh, pass interference here, what have you. And that's what I'm expecting from this game. Is there were a lot of avenues, a lot of ways this game could have gone differently that Iowa would have won it. And just to wrap this up and to say what everybody else is saying, this is the season of what if. It just is.
There was a real in this on top of the what if, and this is giving an extra kind of kick in the where for Iowa fans. So I apologize. There was more than one realistic scenario where Iowa got in the playoff as a 3-loss team.
Yeah, there was. Now that's done. That's dead. That's completely dead.
Oh God, yeah. Shelve the playoff if you have a 4. I don't give a crap who it is. Like that, That doesn't. You don't deserve to be in it. I think we're gonna have to talk about this game more in a few days because I want to rewatch it as well. But like, I'm of the opinion now, Iowa cannot move forward, and I had this opinion mostly solidified, but this capped it off for me, Eliot. Iowa cannot move forward as a program until they get a damn ranked win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to sit here and say these games don't. Every game matters. I'm not minimizing that. Iowa wants to get to here. It doesn't matter if they're 10-0 against even Northwestern, even about beat Michigan today. Like, let's just say the Big Ten West, right? They're trying to get to here. I don't care if they're 8-0 or 9-0 against Big Ten West competition. They will always be a tier below until they go out there and beat some brand names and ranked teams. That's not to say Iowa's a failure as a program. That's not to say KF or anybody needs to lose their job. But from a national perception and a brand recognition to make the program a little bit sexier on the recruiting trail, don't take moral victories. You have to get it done when it matters most. And what matters, Eliot? Primetime games, beating ranked opponents, and being in the conversation. Everything else is great and it's fun. It's fun to write stories. Everybody loves a happy team. I love a happy message board. But when you talk about the big things that matter to the casual college football fan or the national pundits and the analysts, you got to get it done when it matters most.
Hawkeyes lose back-to-back games as well for the first time since 2022. So it's a rough season, continues to get rougher. I'll wrap it up here, Dave. I am Eliot Clough. He's David Eickholt. We are from HawkeyeInsider.com and 24/7 Sports. Stay tuned with us. Plenty more content to come from this game as well as hoops this coming week. More pods as well with us and Sean Bach. So stay locked in with us at HawkeyeInsider.com and 24/7 Sports.